You step softly along a forest path, the earth beneath your feet damp and warm. Mist curls around tree trunks like quiet smoke, and the air is heavy with the scent of morning dew. Every sound is measured and delicate, the distant drip of water from leaves, the whisper of a breeze through the branches, the faint rustle of small creatures beginning their day. You take a deep breath, letting the forest fill your lungs, feeling your body mirror its gentle awakening. Light spills through the canopy, scattering across mossy stones and fallen branches. Each sunbeam seems to pause midair, a golden thread weaving through green. Leaves tremble lightly in response, as though sensing your presence, though you move without disturbing the calm. The green of the forest is not uniform. It shimmers in countless shades. Some leaves are dark and velvet-like, holding shadows within them, while others glow almost translucent, letting light pass through like thin glass. You realize that every leaf, in its own way, is capturing the sun's warmth and transforming it into the slow, vital rhythm of life. You kneel beside a small cluster of ferns. Their fronds curl and unfurl like tiny scrolls, revealing delicate patterns that seem designed for your curiosity. As you touch them, the texture is soft but firm, the surfaces cool with morning moisture. Each plant pulses in its own quiet way, drawing water from the soil through unseen roots, sending it upward in a gentle, almost imperceptible surge. You imagine the journey of each drop, weaving through xylem tubes, nourishing leaves and stems, sustaining the slow choreography of growth. The forest is alive in a way that hums beneath perception, a rhythm too subtle to hear but unmistakable to feel. Chlorophyll glows faintly in your imagination, tiny lanterns inside every leaf. This green pigment is both painter and worker, capturing photons and converting them into the energy that drives life. You picture sunlight falling on each leaf, breaking into 1,000 sparkling fragments that the plant collects carefully, like a craftsman gathering tools. You feel a kinship with this process, sensing how quiet labor, persistence, and patience together create something extraordinary. Life, in its simplest form, is both fragile and resilient, a pulse that continues through centuries of seasons. Above you, the canopy sways slowly. Tiny gaps open between branches, allowing shafts of light to touch the forest floor. In these golden corridors, seedlings stretch toward the sky, delicate and uncertain, yet determined. You watch as each one reaches upward, sensing an innate knowledge of where the light lies, how to grow, how to unfold. The forest does not rush. It never hurries. Time here is measured in the stretch of a leaf, the rise of a stem, the silent elongation of roots seeking water. You feel your own pulse slowing, aligning with the patient cadence of this quiet world. As you walk deeper, you notice the symphony of green expanding. Moss carpets stones and fallen logs, soft as velvet, cushioning the passage of unseen feet. Tiny shoots emerge from decomposing leaves, feeding on yesterday's life to grow today's. Lichens cling to bark in delicate patterns, a subtle collaboration of fungi and algae. Every surface seems alive, every shadow filled with potential. You feel a quiet awe, a gentle recognition that the forest is not only a place but a process, a slow, ongoing miracle unfolding all around you. The forest whispers its secrets if you listen carefully. You hear the faint vibration of stems as water moves through them, carrying minerals and sugars. You imagine the stomata on each leaf opening and closing, exchanging gases, breathing quietly with the air you share. Carbon dioxide drifts in, oxygen drifts out. You and the forest are entwined in this exchange, partners in a slow, invisible contract that sustains life. You place your hand on a tree trunk and feel a subtle warmth, the tree's life flowing through bark and wood, a pulse that is as calm as it is enduring. Tiny flowers peek shyly from the undergrowth. Their colors are soft, muted by the morning mist. You notice how they tilt toward the sun, responding to its call with subtle movements that almost seem conscious. Pollinators have yet to stir fully, but you imagine them hovering quietly, sipping nectar, carrying pollen from one blossom to another. This gentle cooperation, unseen and yet vital, reinforces the forest's quiet rhythm. Everything has its place, its moment, its role. Even the smallest organism contributes to the grandeur of this living tapestry. You pause beside a small stream. Water winds slowly around stones, reflecting dappled light in fragmented patterns. You watch as droplets cling to leaves, then drip softly to the ground, each tiny splash joining the river of life that nourishes the forest. You dip your fingers into the cool current, feeling its gentle motion. It is not a rush. It is a flow measured by patience and persistence. You feel a deep connection to this water, to the life it nourishes, to the cycle that has been unfolding long before you arrived. In the quiet moments, you notice the forest's pulse extending beyond the visible. Underground, roots interlace in subtle networks, communicating through chemical signals, sharing resources, warning each other of threats. The soil itself hums with microscopic life, fungi, bacteria, tiny invertebrates, all contributing to a balanced ecosystem. You sense the unseen beneath your feet, the slow work of thousands of invisible hands shaping the forest from below. It is a rhythm of patience, collaboration, and quiet endurance, a rhythm that mirrors the pulse within your own chest. You lie back on a bed of moss, letting the forest cradle you. Sunlight filters through leaves in shifting patterns, warming your face and arms. You feel time stretching and softening, your thoughts slowing, your body syncing with the subtle heartbeat of green life around you. The forest does not demand attention. It offers it gently. Its lessons are quiet but profound. Growth is patient, energy is precious, and life unfolds most beautifully when nurtured with calm intention. As the morning drifts slowly toward midday, you realize that every leaf, every blade of grass, every tendril of vine is awake in its own way. Their quiet labor, their patient energy, has created a world of calm abundance. You sense that this rhythm continues beyond what you can see, extending through roots, water, and sunlight, through seasons yet to come. You carry this stillness with you, a gentle knowledge that life's awakening is ongoing, subtle, and ever-present. And as you rise to continue deeper into the forest, you notice that the green around you seems to shimmer with possibility, hinting at hidden worlds yet to be discovered, and you wonder what quiet awakenings might await beyond the next bend. You step lightly into the forest, letting your senses stretch as the sunlight drifts through branches above. Each ray is a thin, golden thread, weaving the canopy into an intricate pattern of shadow and glow. You feel it first as warmth on your skin, a gentle whisper against your cheeks, a quiet reminder that the day is awake. The light is soft but insistent, a presence that reaches even the deepest corners of your awareness. As you breathe in the forest air, you imagine photons, tiny packets of light, falling from the sky in silent rain. Each one carries the energy of the sun, traveling millions of miles to meet this moment. They tumble into the leaves above you, bouncing from surface to surface, vibrating at speeds that make your mind spin if you try to follow them. Yet you do not need to chase them. You feel them instead in the warmth that flows slowly through the spaces between branches, in the shimmering glint that dances across the mossy floor. Leaves are delicate mirrors, catching these photons and transforming them with quiet precision. Inside their cells, chlorophyll waits like a patient host, ready to receive the sun's gift. When the photons arrive, their energy stirs molecules into motion, triggering a cascade of transformations so subtle that it feels like magic. The sun's touch is invisible in its complexity, yet utterly present in the life it supports. You feel your own heartbeat echoing this rhythm, a resonance that connects you to every leaf, every stem, every hidden vein of light. You wander further along a narrow trail, the canopy thickening above. Light and shadow play across your path, a soft choreography of brightness and shade. You notice tiny droplets of dew clinging to fern fronds, reflecting miniature fragments of the sun in crystalline clarity. Each drop seems to pulse with its own glow, a fleeting echo of the vast energy that poured down to earth. You realize that sunlight is not just a force. It is a language, written in warmth, reflection, and motion, speaking to everything that reaches for it. The gentle caress of sunlight is both powerful and intimate. You watch as a single ray filters through a gap in the leaves, landing on a small patch of soil. There, it warms a tiny seed buried beneath the surface, unseen but not untouched. The energy awakens the sleeping cells inside, nudging them to grow, to stretch, to reach. You can almost hear the faint rustle of roots moving, the subtle sigh of stems elongating. Sunlight becomes a messenger, carrying life's instructions in every quantum of energy, and you are witness to this quiet miracle. As you walk, you notice how the light bends and scatters. Some photons slip through the canopy and scatter in 1,000 directions, painting the forest with soft gradients of gold and green. Others are absorbed entirely, lost to transformation, converted into chemical energy that will nourish the tree. You understand, in a gentle way, that nothing is wasted. The energy of the sun circulates, cycles through living tissues, and returns in subtle forms: heat, growth, scent, and the gentle rustle of leaves. You feel enveloped by this invisible flow, cradled in the quiet generosity of sunlight. Your attention drifts to the patterns of color on the forest floor. Shadows of leaves overlap like delicate lace, moving with the breeze, with the slow arc of the sun across the sky. You notice the tiny veins of leaves, glowing faintly as they channel energy to every corner. Chloroplasts within cells shimmer like miniature lanterns, performing the alchemy of photosynthesis with perfect rhythm. You imagine the molecules of water and carbon dioxide patiently rearranging themselves, transformed by the sun's touch into glucose, the hidden sugar that feeds life. It is a process so quiet, so intricate, that it almost feels like the forest is breathing in tandem with you. There is a rhythm to sunlight that you can feel but not measure. Morning light arrives in gentle increments, softening shadows, warming the air. Midday light stretches bold and bright, illuminating every surface with clarity. Evening light slides slowly across the horizon, long and amber, painting leaves and bark in tender hues. You notice how this rhythm guides the life around you. The opening of flowers, the stretching of branches, the settling of insects into shaded hollow sunlight is both pulse and conductor, orchestrating the quiet symphony of life. You pause by a small stream, watching sunlight glitter on the moving water. Each ripple captures and scatters light in an endless dance, a mirror of the cycles you have observed in leaves and branches. You realize that the sun's touch is everywhere, not just on foliage, but on water, on soil, on rocks warmed by the day, on the cool breeze that brushes your skin. The forest feels alive with these invisible currents, a subtle network of energy flowing through every living and non-living element. You sense that you are part of this network, carried along by its rhythm even as you stand still. The more you focus, the more the details of sunlight's journey emerge. Photons that began their travel in the sun's core arrive here, billions of years in transit, only to spark life in a single leaf. You feel the enormity of that journey in a personal way. The distance, the persistence, the patient inevitability of energy moving through time and space to reach this precise moment. And yet, it is not overwhelming. It is tender, intimate, like a whisper that threads the cosmos into the fibers of your body, connecting the vast and the small in one quiet gesture. Time seems to stretch as you wander, guided by the movement of light. Each step is cushioned by the filtered sun, each breath steeped in warmth. You imagine the sunlight entering leaves, converting energy, spreading nutrients, and fueling growth not just in plants, but in every creature that relies on them. You feel your own body responding to this gentle cadence. Your skin warmed, your heart calmed, your mind softened. The world feels suspended, balanced on these currents of energy, as if each photon carries the memory of the sun's touch, gently reminding you that life continues in cycles of quiet generosity. Finally, you lie down on a patch of soft moss, letting sunlight spill across your face. You watch particles of dust drift through the beams, suspended in midair like tiny sparks of gold. You feel the warmth seep deeper into your body, a slow, invisible infusion that connects you to the forest, to the sunlight, to the entire process of life unfolding in quiet repetition. You realize that sunlight is not only energy, it is connection, movement, and time, all folded into a single gentle presence. You close your eyes for a moment and imagine all the leaves, branches, streams, and creatures touched by the sun's journey today. You feel gratitude, not as an obligation, but as a natural echo of awareness, a resonance with the life that surrounds you. And as your breathing slows, you sense that each ray of sunlight carries a question into the next moment. How will this energy continue to move, transform, and touch other lives tomorrow? You inhale, slowly, feeling the weightless presence of the air around you. Within it, countless molecules of carbon dioxide drift, each one tiny, almost ghostly yet essential. They move quietly, unassuming, carrying the secret pulse of life. As you exhale, imagine them flowing onward, threading through the invisible currents that surround the trees, the grass, and the flowers. Every breath you take is a part of this vast, invisible cycle, a gentle reminder that life is woven of things unseen. Floating in this quiet world, your attention shifts to a single leaf above you. Sunlight brushes its surface, warm and golden, and the leaf begins its subtle transformation. Tiny pores, stomata, open like welcoming doors. The carbon dioxide molecules, drawn by invisible rhythm, drift inside. It is a slow, deliberate entry, a secret dance where each molecule finds its place. You sense the elegance in this choreography, the precision of a process older than memory itself. Nothing rushes here. Everything unfolds at the pace of patience, of quiet intention. Inside the leaf, water molecules have gathered, drawn upward from the roots through a network of delicate veins. They meet the carbon dioxide in an intimate encounter, guided by sunlight's gentle insistence. Photons scatter across the chlorophyll, tiny sparks of energy igniting the machinery of life. You imagine these photons tumbling into every green cell, bouncing like tiny dancers, energizing the space between the molecules. This energy is invisible, yet you feel it as a subtle warmth, a presence that pulses softly in the depths of the leaf. The moment seems eternal, suspended in the stillness of understanding. The leaf begins its quiet alchemy. Carbon and water merge, responding to the energy of sunlight, rearranging into sugars. Glucose forms, delicate chains of sweetness, a hidden treasure crafted with invisible hands. Each molecule is both simple and extraordinary, a microscopic marvel that sustains the forest, the meadow, the life all around you. You imagine these sugars traveling along the leaf's veins, moving like a secret stream toward the branches and stems, nourishing every cell they touch. Life flows in this quiet way, an unhurried river of transformation. As you watch, the leaf exhales oxygen, the silent gift of this invisible labor. It drifts upward, mingling with the air, joining the breath of everything around you. The forest inhales and exhales in a rhythm older than you can name, a harmony of give and take, of subtle balance. You feel yourself a part of it, your own lungs echoing the cadence, carrying the whispers of transformation deep into your body. There is a strange intimacy in this, a connection to the green pulse of the world, an acknowledgement that life sustains life in endless, quiet cycles. The process repeats itself endlessly. Carbon dioxide enters, energy spreads, sugars form, oxygen escapes, and the air carries the trace of this gentle miracle. You imagine the same molecule of carbon dioxide that floated into this leaf was once part of the breath of another creature, another forest, a distant time. It is a traveler across ages, a witness to change, and you sense the continuity of existence, stretching softly in all directions. You are, in this moment, both observer and participant, part of the current that hums quietly through every living thing. Sunlight moves across the canopy, and the leaf responds, opening, closing, adjusting, sensing. You notice the subtle shifts, the leaf's quiet agency, as if it were breathing alongside you. Photosynthesis continues, a slow, deliberate act of generosity. The energy captured here will feed tiny insects, crawling caterpillars, and the birds that sing softly in the branches. Even the soil beneath holds the echo of this transformation. As sugars feed roots and fungi, as life extends in ways both visible and unseen, the forest is a living symphony, composed of countless, invisible notes of energy and carbon, flowing and folding into one another. You let your attention drift further into the details. Water molecules stretch and vibrate, their bonds responding to sunlight's encouragement. Carbon dioxide molecules twist and turn, seeking the precise arrangement that will allow them to join the dance of sugar formation. There is an elegance here that feels like poetry written in chemistry, a silent rhythm that binds the microscopic and the macroscopic. You sense it not only in your mind but deep in your chest, a resonance that aligns your own heartbeat with the pulse of the forest. In this quiet meditation, you also notice the impermanence of things. Carbon flows in cycles, into the leaves, into the fruits, into the soil, into the air once again. It is never lost, never destroyed, only transformed. You imagine the air you breathe as a mixture of past and present, carrying echoes of distant forests, ancient oceans, and the footprints of creatures long gone. Every inhalation connects you to a story written over millions of years, a narrative of growth, decay, and renewal. And yet, despite the immensity of it all, it feels intimate, immediate, and gentle, like a lullaby whispered across time. You follow a single molecule of carbon dioxide as it leaves the leaf, drifting upward, merging with countless others. It moves invisibly through the forest, joining the endless swirl of air, traveling toward another plant, another moment, another act of transformation. Each journey is unique, yet each is part of the same ongoing story. You feel a profound calm in this continuity, a sense that everything is both fragile and enduring, delicate and persistent. You are part of a cycle that does not rush, that does not demand, that simply unfolds with patient grace. The wind stirs, carrying the faint scent of leaves and soil. You feel the carbon dioxide mingling with every inhalation, connecting your body to the trees, to the soil, to the sunlight that powers them. There is a quiet rhythm here, one you can almost follow in your own breathing. In and out, energy and matter, sun and leaf, air and body, all moving together in an intimate, invisible dance. You feel gratitude, not as a thought but as a sensation, spreading softly across your chest, grounding you in the vast, breathing world around you. And as the sun dips lower, casting long, tender shadows across the forest floor, you understand the gentle power of this transformation. Carbon, light, and water converge in silent alchemy, sustaining life in ways both enormous and almost imperceptible. You carry this awareness with you as you walk slowly through the quiet woods, sensing the unseen currents, the subtle exchanges, the invisible labor of leaves and light. Every step becomes lighter, every breath a part of the forest's song, every moment a soft acknowledgement of the interconnectedness of life. The molecules continue their journeys, unseen but alive, whispering of cycles and change. You realize that this quiet work, the flow of carbon, the capture of sunlight, the creation of sugars, is not separate from you but intimately entwined with your existence. There is a serenity in knowing that every exhale, every inhale, joins the rhythm of life, and that even the smallest, invisible processes have a profound impact on the world. The forest, the air, your body, and the sunlight are threads in a single, intricate tapestry, weaving a story of patience, resilience, and quiet wonder. And as night begins to settle, you feel the lingering presence of carbon in the air, in the leaves, in your own lungs. The journey is never finished, only paused, waiting for the next sunbeam, the next breath, the next leaf to open. You sense that in every moment, you are part of an endless cycle, a quiet story of transformation that stretches beyond the horizon of time and space. And in this gentle, interconnected dance, you feel a soft invitation to continue following the unseen, to wonder at the hidden threads that sustain all life, and to trust in the quiet pulse that will carry you into the next chapter of discovery. You close your eyes and picture a single raindrop. It begins its descent from a cloud, drifting on the currents of the wind. Tiny, almost weightless, it glides over the landscape, tracing the contours of leaves, soil, and stone. Each droplet carries with it more than water. It carries stories of clouds formed far away, lifted high into the sky by warmth and invisible air currents. You notice how it lands softly, on a green blade of grass, and a subtle ripple spreads out, almost like a whispered greeting to the earth. The soil beneath your feet is alive with movement you cannot see. Tiny channels of earth and root invite the water in, guiding it deeper, slower, downwards. Gravity nudges the droplets, but it is the microscopic pores, the spaces between grains of soil, that shape the path. Water does not rush. It curves and pauses, sometimes lingering, sometimes flowing steadily, always finding its way. You can imagine this underground dance, the quiet weaving of water with minerals and air, a hidden network of nurture and balance. As water reaches the roots, it meets the intricate tendrils that have patiently waited. Roots reach out with delicate fingers, sensing the moisture, drawing it in. You feel a gentle pull, almost like the roots are breathing in, welcoming the gift. Through tiny cellular walls, water enters, moving from one cell to the next, carrying minerals and nutrients essential for growth. It is a patient journey, a slow absorption, guided not by urgency but by need, by the rhythms of the living organism. You follow the water upward, through the stem, where the plant's inner plumbing begins to take shape. Xylem vessels, hollow and strong, carry the water on a vertical pilgrimage. It rises because of cohesion and adhesion, properties of water that allow it to cling to itself and the walls of these vessels. Imagine the droplets as companions, holding hands as they ascend, moving steadily against gravity, drawn toward leaves bathed in sunlight. Each droplet joins others, forming a quiet procession, a stream of life moving upward, carrying nourishment and possibility. At the leaves, sunlight waits like a gentle hand. The water spreads across the thin surfaces, encountering tiny openings called stomata. Here, it participates in photosynthesis, a dance of light and life. Water contributes hydrogen to the creation of sugar, the plant's sustenance. Carbon dioxide, captured from the air, combines with sunlight to form energy that fuels growth, repair, and the subtle unfolding of life. You watch, in your mind's eye, as sunlight glimmers across the surface, droplets refracting the rays into tiny rainbows, a delicate celebration of transformation. Water does not linger forever in one place. Some evaporates, rising again as vapor, joining the invisible currents above. The cycle continues, an unbroken circle that connects clouds to earth, sky to soil, droplets to leaves. You feel the rhythm in your own breath, slow and steady, reflecting the same cycles of movement, absorption, and release. The journey of water mirrors your own, sometimes descending, sometimes rising, always part of a larger flow, always returning, always moving. Along its path, water carries stories of the earth itself. Minerals dissolved in its currents tell of ancient rocks and deep geological time. Tiny organisms, microbes, and algae ride along, quietly contributing to life's balance. Water is never empty. It is always full of history, experience, and potential. You sense the richness of this hidden world, how each droplet is a vessel of connection, linking sky, soil, plant, and the smallest forms of life beneath your gaze. Outside, you notice the sound of rain falling on leaves and rooftops. It is rhythmic, comforting, almost like a heartbeat. You breathe in sync with it, feeling a gentle resonance. There is a quiet learning and listening, the way water softens hard soil, the way it nourishes unseen roots, the way it eventually finds sunlight again. In this, you feel a patient wisdom, a reminder that life's processes are gradual, steady, and intertwined. Sometimes water pools in small hollows, forming temporary mirrors of the sky. In them, clouds float upside down, wind brushing across the surface. You imagine the tiny ecosystem within each pool. Insects skimming along, microorganisms swirling, plant seeds waiting for the next stage of life. Even the smallest collection of water is alive with movement, possibility, and gentle transformation. It is a world within a world, quiet yet vibrant, a reminder that life thrives in patience and subtlety. As water continues its journey, it nourishes more than just the plant in front of you. It seeps through the soil, feeding underground streams and rivers. These currents meander slowly, shaped by the land, carrying life invisibly to faraway places. You picture the water moving silently beneath your feet, connecting root systems, feeding animals, sustaining life far beyond where your eyes can see. Every droplet has a purpose, a role in a larger system, a part in an unending flow of care and continuity. And as night falls, you imagine water cycling back to the sky, evaporating into the quiet air, rising toward clouds, ready to begin the journey again. The rhythm is constant, unhurried, reflecting the patience of nature itself. In this gentle descent and rise, there is trust. A trust that each step of the journey matters, that small movements accumulate into sustaining life, and that the unseen pathways are as important as those you can touch or see. You lie back and feel the water within you, echoing the journey outside. Blood and lymph, fluids moving through your body, carry nutrients and warmth in a similar rhythm, a silent reflection of the Earth's own patterns. You sense the connection, the way life mirrors life, the way every drop of water that falls supports not just plants, but a network of living things, including yourself. There is a quiet meditation here, in noticing the subtle, patient work that sustains growth, breath, and energy. And as the last raindrops merge with the soil, slipping silently into deep roots and hidden streams, you realize that every descent carries a promise. To rise again, to nurture, to transform. In the gentle persistence of water, you feel a lesson in patience and connection, in quiet service and resilient motion. Your thoughts drift slowly to the question of what happens next. How the water that nourishes the leaves, the soil, and your imagined world will journey onward, joining rivers, reaching oceans, and eventually returning to the sky, beginning the cycle anew. And in that reflection, you sense the quiet magic of continuity, the endless rhythm that carries life gently forward, inviting you to follow its path, softly, step by step. You bring your attention to a single leaf, letting your gaze linger on its surface, tracing the subtle veins that lace through its delicate skin. In this quiet observation, the world of the invisible begins to unfold. The leaf is more than a green fragment of life. It is a living factory, a bustling microcosm of energy and motion. The sunlight that filters through the canopy becomes a visitor, a gentle guest that the leaf welcomes without hesitation. Each photon is caught, carefully guided into a journey that will transform light into life itself. Within the leaf, chloroplasts float like tiny, shimmering lanterns. They are the engines of this factory, spinning silently, unobserved by the human eye. Each chloroplast contains layers of membranes, folded like the pages of an ancient manuscript, holding the secrets of sunlight's conversion. You imagine them as quiet artisans, each one working with precise rhythm, capturing the sun's warmth and shaping it into chemical energy. You sense the hum of creation, soft and constant, as if the leaf itself is breathing through these microscopic machines. As light is absorbed, it sets electrons in motion, delicate sparks that travel through intricate pathways. These electrons move with purpose, never hurried, never chaotic, guided by forces you cannot see but can feel in the rhythm of your own breathing. Energy is shifted, carried along chains of molecules that are themselves part of the leaf's quiet, elegant design. You picture the photons being transformed into ATP, the molecule that carries energy where it is needed, like tiny couriers delivering nourishment to every corner of the cellular world. The process is subtle, intricate, yet astonishingly efficient. It has been perfected over eons, a choreography of light and chemistry that sustains life above and below the forest floor. You lean in closer, imagining the chloroplasts in detail. Their interiors shimmer with green, not just a color but a signal of transformation. Within the stroma, the fluid that fills each chloroplast, enzymes move with serene precision, catalyzing reactions that will bind carbon from the air into sugar molecules. You feel the wonder of this cycle, so quiet and unseen, yet so essential to the forest's entire existence. Every leaf is a hub of creation, a workshop that never pauses, tirelessly producing the compounds that will feed leaves, insects, and the animals that depend on them. Carbon dioxide drifts into the leaf through tiny openings called stomata, invisible doorways that open and close with gentle discretion. You imagine the molecules entering slowly, like soft footsteps in a cathedral, merging with water and sunlight to form glucose, the sweet, sustaining sugar of life. Oxygen is released in return, a quiet gift to the air, exhaled from the leaf into the vast atmosphere. You inhale deeply, sensing this invisible exchange, realizing that the air around you carries whispers of countless leaves breathing together, a collective meditation of growth and energy. Within this microscopic factory, nothing is wasted. Every photon, every molecule, every movement is part of a larger orchestration. You picture the thylakoid membranes as corridors, the proteins as workers, the electrons as messages, all performing an unbroken dance of light into life. The elegance of the process unfolds in layers you cannot touch, yet you feel it in the rhythm of your own heartbeat, in the quiet curiosity that draws you closer to understanding. The forest's vitality is mirrored in the subtle pulse of your awareness, a soft, shared resonance between human and leaf. As you drift further into this contemplative vision, you notice how the leaf adapts, responding to light and shadow with a gentle intelligence. It tilts, it bends, it adjusts the opening of its stomata to conserve water or to maximize energy capture. You sense the patience in this movement, a slow, considered response to the environment. The leaf does not rush. It does not tire. It performs its task with quiet dedication, reminding you of the subtle power of persistence. There is a lesson here, woven in chlorophyll and membranes. Energy flows best when patience meets precision, when work is rhythmic, deliberate, and harmonious with the surrounding world. The sugars formed within the chloroplasts travel to other parts of the plant, carried along vascular highways that connect roots, stems, and leaves in an unseen network. You imagine each molecule moving with purpose, nourishing buds that will bloom, roots that will anchor, and seeds that will grow. The factory is not confined to one leaf but is part of an integrated system, a community of energy and matter, flowing, circulating, sustaining life. The forest feels alive in your mind's eye, each leaf a node in a vast, interwoven network, quietly sharing the energy captured from sunlight. In the stillness, you notice the elegance of the biochemical cycles. The Calvin cycle, normally a tangle of letters and numbers in a textbook, becomes a gentle story. Carbon enters, interacts with enzymes like dancers guided by invisible music, and emerges as sugar. The process is not hurried, yet it is reliable, rhythmic, a timeless ritual repeated countless times every day. You sense a harmony here, a meditation in motion, where physics, chemistry, and life converge in the simplest and most profound of acts, creation from light. You feel your awareness stretching beyond the leaf. Each chloroplast is a tiny universe, yet it is part of a larger one, connected to the soil, to water, to air, to the sun. You are aware of the cycles of energy and life that surround you, the quiet miracles that happen every moment, unnoticed yet vital. There is a rhythm to existence here, gentle and unbroken, a soft heartbeat that echoes through the veins of every leaf and the roots beneath your feet. You sense that this is a story without end, a cycle of giving and receiving that never truly pauses. The hum of the factory within the leaf resonates in your own body. You feel a connection, subtle but undeniable, as if the leaf's patience and precision have entered your own rhythm. You imagine carrying the calm efficiency of chloroplasts into your own thoughts, letting each breath, each moment, convert your attention into a quiet energy that nourishes your mind. There is a meditative joy in witnessing this small world, a serenity born from understanding, a gentle awareness of life's intricate design. And as you watch, you realize that this tiny factory, invisible to most, has been at work for millions of years, yet it never asks for recognition. Its labor is quiet, constant, indispensable. You feel a reverence for this hidden diligence, a soft gratitude for the unseen processes that make forests, oceans, and even your own body possible. Each molecule, each photon, each cycle is a whisper of continuity, a reminder that life's endurance depends on invisible care, and that small, persistent acts of energy create profound effects over time. Your mind drifts with the leaf, following the journey of sugar, light, and energy, understanding that the forest's vitality is a reflection of these countless tiny factories at work. You sense that what you have witnessed is more than biology. It is a meditation on the quiet efficiency of nature, on the unseen mechanisms that uphold life, on the slow, gentle unfolding of energy into form. And in this soft awareness, you feel the edges of your curiosity stretching toward the next wonder, wondering how these patterns of energy connect even more deeply with the rhythms of the wider world beyond the leaf. You imagine yourself stepping into the quiet heart of a forest, where light filters softly through the canopy, scattering in golden fragments across leaves and branches. Somewhere deep within these green corridors, sugars begin their invisible journey. They are born from sunlight, caught by leaves in a tender alchemy of chlorophyll and water. Each photon, each droplet, becomes part of a gentle dance, a slow transformation of light into life. You can almost feel the warmth of that sunbeam, now crystallized into the sweet promise that courses through every plant. In the veins of a leaf, you see sugars pooling, ready to begin their journey. They are small, humble molecules: glucose, fructose, sucrose. Yet together, they carry the weight of life itself. You notice how they move, not in haste, but in rhythm, a pulse that mirrors your own heartbeat. This river of energy flows through stems, guided by phloem vessels that stretch like quiet highways within the plant. Each cell along the way reaches out, absorbing what it needs, leaving just enough for the next in line. It is a story of patience, of giving and receiving, of life unfolding with deliberate grace. You lean closer to the stem and imagine zooming into the microscopic world. Here, sugars are more than just fuel. They are messages. They signal growth. They tell roots to expand, flowers to bloom, and fruits to ripen. Their journey is a whisper of communication, invisible yet undeniable. You sense a deep connection between this molecular conversation and the steady rhythm of your own body, how energy circulates, how every beat carries both purpose and quiet joy. As sugars travel downward, you notice how the plant's roots receive them with gentle embrace. Each root cell drinks deeply, converting these simple molecules into strength and structure. Tiny hairs reach into the soil, drawing in water and minerals, partners in this slow symphony of nourishment. The sugars provide the energy for this work, fueling the unseen labor that keeps the plant upright, resilient, and alive. You imagine this process in your own body. The food you eat, broken down and carried through your veins, each molecule participating in a subtle, elegant dance of sustaining life. Moving back upward, the sugars do not stop. They swirl into buds and blossoms, carrying with them the sun's memory, a soft sweetness that promises new life. In petals, they become colors, feeding pigments that shimmer in gentle light. In flowers, they become nectar, a quiet invitation for bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. You hear the faint buzz of wings and see the soft flutter of creatures who rely on this gift, each sip of sugar a note in a larger melody. The forest seems to exhale around you, each leaf and petal infused with the lingering warmth of sunlight transformed into sustenance. You pause to consider the science behind this gentle procession. Sugars are products of photosynthesis, yes, but they are also carriers of information. They guide growth, regulate timing, and maintain balance within the plant. In a way, they are both fuel and wisdom, a double offering from the natural world. The elegance of this system is quiet, not demanding attention, yet it is profound in its simplicity. You imagine yourself moving alongside these molecules, feeling the subtle tug of their flow, witnessing the invisible choreography that sustains every living thing around you. Beyond the plant itself, sugars shape the world in broader ways. They feed the soil, nurturing the microbes that maintain its health. They support the insects, birds, and animals that carry seeds and pollen, perpetuating cycles that have existed for millennia. You see how energy travels, transforms, and returns, a continuous, unhurried river of life. It reminds you of the importance of patience, of trust in processes larger than any single moment, of the gentle inevitability of natural balance. You imagine touching a leaf, feeling the slight warmth of sunlight captured in its cells, the subtle vibrations of energy moving unseen. Each sugar molecule carries a story, a whisper of sunlight made tangible. You sense how this quiet generosity mirrors your own need for nourishment, not only for your body, but for your mind and spirit. Life, like these molecules, travels slowly, with purpose, leaving traces of wonder in its wake. You inhale the scent of green, sweet sap and soil, and your thoughts drift into the rhythms of this soft world. You follow a sugar molecule as it reaches a blossom. Here it meets pollen, insects, and air, contributing to creation in the gentlest ways. Flowers bloom and sway, colors deepening, shapes forming, guided by the energy of these tiny travelers. Each molecule's journey is complete yet endless, giving itself entirely, preparing the next generation, leaving behind a trace of sunlight, a hint of warmth, a whisper of promise. You imagine the sweetness lingering in your own memory, a reminder that even the smallest gifts can carry profound energy and quiet joy. Even deeper, you notice sugars inside fruits, slowly ripening under the sun's attention. Their sweetness is a promise to animals and humans alike, a call to partake in this endless cycle of nourishment. You sense how every bite, every taste, connects back to the forests and fields, to sunlight and water, to molecules that traveled patiently and with care. In this web of gentle interconnections, you recognize a pattern. Life does not rush. It flows, transforms, and shares. Each small gift contributes to the harmony of the whole. Finally, you take a step back and see the forest as a network of rivers and veins, all moving, all alive, carrying whispers of sunlight and the quiet wisdom of sugars. Each leaf, stem, blossom, and root participates in a slow meditation of giving and receiving. You feel your own breath aligning with the rhythm of this energy, a calm awareness that connects you to this vast, gentle flow. You sense the lesson. Life moves with intention, and even the tiniest elements have stories to tell, stories that ripple softly outward. And as the sugars continue their journey, unseen but ever present, you feel the echo of this quiet generosity within yourself, a calm pulse of energy and possibility, waiting to be shared, carried forward, and transformed. You begin by noticing the air around you, not as empty space, but as a gentle sea of tiny particles, invisible yet sustaining every heartbeat. In this quiet moment, you focus on your breath. The inhale is soft, deliberate, and for a second, it feels almost as though you are tasting the leaves of distant trees, the green of moss underfoot, the crispness of mountain air. Each breath carries with it a story, written in the chemical language of life itself. Oxygen is the whisper of the world, drifting from leaves, stems, and oceans, released in tiny molecules, light and nimble. It flows unnoticed, yet without it, nothing stirs. In photosynthesis, green leaves capture sunlight, transforming it into sugar, while gifting oxygen to the world. The process is quiet, slow, and endlessly patient. A conversation between sunlight and water, mediated by chlorophyll. And you, breathing now, become part of this exchange. With each inhale, your lungs fill with this invisible offering. Tiny sacs, alveoli, expand like soft balloons, and oxygen slips across membranes into your blood. Red blood cells, the diligent couriers, pick up these molecules and carry them through rivers of veins and arteries, flowing to every cell in your body. You can almost feel them moving, a steady, silent current, nourishing your tissues, fueling the spark of life inside you. Your mind drifts to forests far away. You imagine the vast Amazon, its canopy stretching like an emerald ocean, leaves whispering as wind passes through them. Each leaf is a tiny factory, tirelessly producing oxygen. And through this gift, a sliver of that forest finds its way into your chest. Every breath you take is a reminder that life is connected in ways too subtle for the eyes, yet tangible to the body. You notice the air outside your window, the gentle motion of leaves swaying. They are not merely decorative. They are participants in a grand cycle. Oxygen rises from their surfaces, mingling with the atmosphere, diffusing slowly, imperceptibly. The forest is not distant. It is intertwined with your own breath, With every inhale and exhale, a quiet intimacy between you and the green world. Inhale. The oxygen enters your bloodstream. Exhale. Carbon dioxide leaves, carried away in tiny currents, a mirror of the forest's own respiration. Plants and humans, animals and fungi, oceans and soils, all participate in this silent trade. Nothing is wasted, nothing is ignored. Even the smallest blade of grass contributes. Even the tiniest algae in a hidden pond adds its voice to this global chorus. You feel the pulse of it, slow and steady, beneath the noise of the day. Your thoughts wander to the history of oxygen on Earth. Long before humans appeared, cyanobacteria filled the seas, tiny architects of the atmosphere, producing oxygen that would one day allow creatures like you to exist. Each inhale connects you not only to the forests and oceans of today, but to billions of years of life striving, adapting, and flourishing. Time itself seems to slow as you breathe, your consciousness touching the vast network of life that stretches across eons. Oxygen is more than a molecule. It is a bridge. It carries energy from the sun into your cells, through the glucose your body has made from food. Mitochondria, your tiny power plants, eagerly accept this gift, using it to release the energy trapped in sugar molecules. You can imagine this process as a delicate dance, electrons hopping along chains, energy flowing gently, steadily, sustaining thought, movement, warmth. With every heartbeat, with every breath, you are alive because of this quiet, tireless choreography. Outside, the world seems to hum softly. Trees shift in the breeze. Grasses sway like waves, releasing oxygen, absorbing carbon dioxide, a pulse in rhythm with the world. You may not see each molecule, but your body knows them intimately. Your blood feels lighter, your muscles subtly energized, your mind calm and expansive. You feel gratitude, not forced, but arising naturally, a soft recognition of the invisible, essential gifts that surround you. You think of oxygen in its many forms, in the atmosphere, dissolved in water, bound within minerals. It is everywhere, moving through cycles that no human hand fully controls. Clouds carry it, rivers carry it, oceans carry it, and yet it always returns, persistent, patient, sustaining life in all its forms. You are part of this cycle, your body a small vessel through which oxygen flows, a participant in a story that began long before you and will continue long after. Take a slow, deliberate inhale. Imagine the oxygen filling your lungs, settling into every crevice of your being. You are not alone in this. Every living creature shares in this breath, a continuous and quiet communion. Even the tiniest insect, the bird in the distance, the fish in the river, all partake in this unseen exchange. The rhythm is gentle, unbroken, as though the world itself is exhaling and inhaling alongside you. With each breath, you feel the connection between your inner world and the outer world. Your mind drifts to mountain peaks, their jagged silhouettes silhouetted against the sky. At these altitudes, the air is thinner, yet the oxygen still reaches you, carried by currents and winds, a reminder that the earth itself is a living system, and you are woven into it. You feel awe, not the kind that stirs anxiety, but a calm, tender reverence. Life is not only around you, it is within you. As you breathe, you imagine the dance continues. Oxygen leaving leaves, entering air, inhaled by creatures, transformed into energy, exhaled as carbon dioxide, returning to plants once more. The cycle spins gently, a slow, invisible carousel of molecules. You are both observer and participant, body and mind aligned with the rhythm of the planet. Each exhale becomes a note in a song that has played for millions of years, quiet and unassuming, yet profound. You notice the fragility of this balance, and yet also its resilience. Life adapts, perseveres, and continues. Your breath is a small affirmation of this vast endurance. Even in moments of stillness, in the quiet hours before sleep, the earth hums with oxygen, with life, with possibility. You feel the continuity, a chain of care, persistence, and renewal stretching across time and space, linking every leaf, every breath, every heartbeat. You can imagine tracing each oxygen molecule back to the tree it once left, to the water it once crossed, to the sunlight that once energized it. The thought is calming, even mesmerizing. You feel yourself part of this story, connected to the silent generosity of every leaf, every blade of grass, every ocean swell. It is a network of giving, flowing ceaselessly, that carries you gently towards sleep. Your breath slows, deeper, more deliberate. You feel the pulse of life within you and around you. The air seems to settle, quieting the mind, softening the edges of thought. The last rays of the day touch distant mountains in your imagination, and you inhale one final time, fully aware of the oxygen that surrounds and sustains you. You step into the forest, and the world exhales a slow, steady rhythm. The air carries the faint, earthy scent of soil warmed by sunlight, and the hush of leaves brushing one another in the breeze feels like a soft lullaby. Here, the passage of time is not measured in hours or minutes, but in gentle shifts. The way light bends differently through the branches, the subtle tilt of the sun across the sky, the faint shift in temperature that whispers of the next season. You notice it without urgency, simply feeling each moment stretch like a silken thread through the landscape. The trees are patient teachers. Their leaves glow with a quiet brilliance, catching the sun in ways that seem almost deliberate, yet effortless. Chlorophyll, the hidden alchemist of green, captures sunlight and turns it into life, drawing energy from the day to store in the body of the tree. In spring, this transformation is swift and lively, a flurry of growth and expansion. You can almost hear the tiny green factories humming, a soft pulse beneath the bark, reminding you that even unseen processes are alive with purpose. As summer drifts over the land, you notice a subtle shift. The sunlight becomes warmer, the air richer with the scent of flowers and grasses. Photosynthesis slows to a steady rhythm, a deep exhale after the initial rush of spring. Leaves stretch out fully, capturing every available photon, yet without haste. You recognize this in yourself, as your own thoughts settle, slowing their pace to match the natural cadence around you. The forest teaches you that growth does not always shout. It sometimes whispers, steady and deliberate. The first hint of autumn tints the edges of leaves with gold, amber, and rust. You walk among them, your footsteps cushioned by the soft carpet of fallen foliage. Each leaf tells a story of sun and rain, of wind and time. They turn and curl, their pigments revealing the slow retreat of chlorophyll. You pause to touch one, feeling its fragile texture, marveling at the quiet chemistry that orchestrated this transformation. The leaves are not dying in panic. They are changing with grace, a patient surrender to the passing of seasons. You notice the undergrowth, too, adapting in its own gentle way. Mushrooms emerge with subtle elegance, their caps like tiny umbrellas lifting toward the diffused light. Moss spreads across stones and fallen logs, soaking in what remains of warmth and moisture, a green persistence that survives in quiet corners. You realize that resilience in nature is not always dramatic. Often, it is a steady, unassuming presence that waits, adapts, and endures. There is a lesson here in patience, in trusting the slow unfolding of time, in finding rhythm even when change is almost imperceptible. With winter approaching, the world softens and quiets. The trees are skeletal, their branches reaching toward the gray sky like meditative hands. Snow may not yet fall, but the air carries a sharp clarity, a stillness that invites reflection. You watch as sap slows, the flow of life retreating inward, conserving energy for the months to come. The forest seems to breathe less, yet it does not cease. Beneath the frozen ground, roots and microbes continue their slow, hidden work. Even in apparent dormancy, life persists, patient and unhurried. In meadows, you observe grasses bending to the cold wind, their golden heads nodding with rhythmic grace. Seeds loosen from stalks, falling to the soil where they will lie in wait, waiting for warmth, water, and light. This waiting is not empty. It is active in its stillness. You imagine yourself as a seed, resting beneath the surface, gathering strength, prepared for the next burst of life when conditions are right. The cycle is gentle, yet unwavering, reminding you that time does not rush. It moves steadily, as a river carves its path through stone. You notice how the light changes, too. Winter sun is low and soft, casting long shadows that stretch across the landscape. Each beam illuminates the frost on branches, the crystalline patterns on leaves left behind, and the subtle undulations of earth beneath snow or frost. This light is not harsh. It is contemplative, inviting you to slow your gaze, to dwell on details usually overlooked. Photosynthesis may pause, yet your awareness of life's quiet persistence deepens. You realize that noticing, observing, and simply being present can be as nourishing as the sun itself. As the seasons cycle onward, you begin to see the forest not as a series of isolated moments but as a continuum. Spring flows into summer, summer into autumn, autumn into winter, and the pattern repeats without hurry, without complaint. Time itself feels elastic, expanding when you linger in observation, contracting when change is subtle yet inevitable. Each stage carries its own rhythm and lesson. The exuberance of growth, the steadiness of maturity, the surrender of decline, and the stillness of dormancy. In this, you recognize a parallel with your own mind, your own body, your own journey. There is an art in pacing oneself, in synchronizing with rhythms larger than personal intent. You pause by a quiet stream, watching the water navigate around stones and fallen branches. The current mirrors the cycles of seasons, ever present, yet constantly shifting. You dip your fingers into the cool flow, feeling its movement, sensing how water, like time, adapts yet persists. You think of chlorophyll, photosynthesis, seeds, roots, and soil, all working silently, patiently, through days and nights you might never notice. Life thrives not through urgency but through gentle, unbroken consistency. The forest floor is now layered with textures. Leaves crisp and fragile, soil soft and damp, moss springing like tiny emerald cushions. Every step you take seems cushioned by the accumulated patience of countless seasons. Insects burrow, fungi weave threads, and unseen roots intertwine. This quiet collaboration, this subtle interdependence, is nature's meditation. A slow, harmonious dance that unfolds over months, years, and decades. You feel yourself attuning to this cadence, your heartbeat slowing to match the world's understated tempo. And yet, even in the stillness of winter, there is anticipation. Each seed beneath the soil, each root beneath the frost, holds the promise of spring. The forest does not rush. It waits with trust, knowing that cycles are inevitable. Photosynthesis will return, buds will swell, and sunlight will again be captured in green leaves. You recognize the wisdom of this patience, the profound lesson that waiting is not inactivity but an essential rhythm of life. You feel a deep calm settle within you, a sense of continuity, resilience, and quiet hope. As you rise and leave the forest, the memory of its patient passage lingers. You carry the sense of slow motion into your own awareness, noticing, pausing, and attuning to the cycles around and within you. You understand that life's rhythms are not chaotic but deliberate, measured, and gentle. And as you walk toward the edge of the meadow, the next chapter of your journey whispers ahead, beckoning you to wonder what quiet transformations await beneath the surface of the world you thought you knew so well. You kneel gently on the soft, damp earth, feeling its coolness against your hands. Each small pebble, each grain of soil, seems alive beneath your touch, vibrating subtly with stories of growth. You notice the faintly sweet scent of loam, earthy and grounding, and it begins to weave a sense of calm through your body. As you breathe in slowly, you imagine the hidden world below, stretching far deeper than your eyes can see, yet connected in ways that feel almost like a secret conversation. Beneath the surface, roots twist and spiral through the soil, invisible threads of life stretching outward. Some are thick and strong, anchoring towering trees that reach for the sky. Others are fine and delicate, searching for the tiniest droplets of water, the faintest traces of nutrients. Together, they form a vast, interlaced network, a city of roots, each one sensing, communicating, and adapting to the needs of the life around it. Fungi, those quiet, often unseen companions of plants, move through this network like gentle couriers. Their mycelium threads, thin as silk yet stronger than steel in their collective reach, connect one root to another. They exchange minerals, carbon, and even chemical signals, allowing trees to warn each other of danger or to share the bounty of a rich patch of soil. You imagine this as a web of whispers, soft voices in the darkness, murmuring life's instructions without need for sound or movement that you can detect. As you imagine stepping into this subterranean world, you notice the rhythm of exchange. Sugars created by leaves in the sunlight travel downward to feed roots, which in turn offer some of these sugars to fungi. Fungi share them further, passing nutrients to neighbors who may be struggling, or storing some for times of scarcity. In this quiet economy, life balances itself with an elegance you can almost feel in your chest. You breathe in the thought that every step you take above ground is cushioned by this unseen web of collaboration. You pause and place your hand lightly on a small sapling, feeling its tiny vibrations. It is connected not only to the soil beneath it but to every older tree nearby, every shrub and blade of grass. Through the soil, it senses the presence of companions, sharing water, warning of pests, and celebrating the gentle warmth of sunlight. In your mind, these roots and fungi are like the veins of the planet itself, circulating energy and wisdom through an intricate circulatory system that never pauses, never tires. Softly, you notice how the soil itself changes as seasons pass. After rain, it becomes heavy and cool, rich with nutrients leached from decaying leaves and fallen bark. During dry spells, it contracts, shrinking slightly, as if holding its breath. Microorganisms, invisible to your eyes, teem in every particle. They break down matter, releasing minerals and amino acids, preparing them for the roots to take in. It is a delicate dance, a choreography that has been perfected over millennia. Every movement has purpose, yet there is no hurry, no noise, only steady, patient growth. Fungi act not only as couriers but as guardians. Some release chemical signals that prevent harmful microbes from overtaking roots. Others form structures that help roots penetrate deeper into compact soil, allowing them to find water hidden far below. You feel a sense of gratitude for these quiet helpers, whose work is rarely seen but essential to the life of the forest. You imagine that if the trees could speak in your language, they would tell stories of the fungi, honoring them as family. Even the smallest plants participate in this network. Tiny mosses on the forest floor, delicate ferns unfurling in shaded pockets. Each contributes to the flow of nutrients. Their roots or rhizoids are short, limited in reach, yet they take part in the chemical conversations that ripple through the soil. Life in all its forms, no matter how humble, contributes to the greater harmony. You sense a gentle reassurance in this, that no contribution is too small, no effort unnoticed in the quiet pulse of the earth. As your awareness deepens, you notice that energy moves not only through chemical signals but through subtle vibrations. When a tree's leaves sway in the wind, microtremors travel down its trunk and into the roots, nudging the soil and perhaps informing neighbors of a gentle disturbance. You imagine this as a secret Morse code of nature, pulses and rhythms carrying meaning you cannot hear but can sense. Standing in this awareness, you feel your own heartbeat aligning, slowing, as if you too are part of this quiet conversation. Light filters through the canopy above, and you imagine it reaching roots in ways that seem impossible, yet happen daily. Sunlight energizes leaves, which create sugars and send them downward, initiating a cascade of life below. Even the most hidden roots feel this indirect touch, as the energy moves through stems, branches, and roots, a golden thread connecting the sky to the soil. You feel awe at the intimacy of this connection, how the above and below, the seen and unseen, the fast and slow, are all intertwined in an endless embrace. Some roots grow side by side, almost touching, yet never merging. Others twist around each other in intricate knots, forming partnerships that last for decades. Fungi weave through these spaces, connecting partners, sharing resources, balancing competition with collaboration. You sense a lesson here, that life thrives not only by growing upward, but by reaching outward, by touching others gently, and by creating networks that carry energy, wisdom, and care. You imagine walking barefoot across this living web. Each step compresses soil, sending tiny vibrations through roots and fungi alike. You wonder how much the earth feels, how much it responds, and how deeply it knows itself. And in this quiet moment, you realize that networks of life are not just below your feet, but all around you, within your own body, within your mind, echoing patterns that nature has long mastered. With this understanding, you begin to let go of thoughts, letting the gentle pulse of life beneath you guide your breathing. You sense energy flowing through roots and fungi, through soil and stone, through water and air. Each breath you take is part of the same rhythm, a reminder that life circulates, connects, and persists in harmony. You feel a quiet joy, a soft awareness that all living things are part of a network far greater than you can see. The forest exhales a soft sigh as the day folds into night. You walk along the narrow path, feeling the warmth of lingering sunlight dissolve into a cooler hush. Each leaf seems to bow, closing its green fingers in repose, surrendering the energy of the day to a quiet, restful pause. You notice the slow dance of shadows, stretching longer and blending with the soft darkness that edges the trees. The air carries a gentle sweetness, the scent of soil, of bark, of moisture rising from the earth as the heat of the day cools into night. Your steps are light, almost imperceptible, yet every footfall resonates with the rhythm of the forest. In the fading light, you watch as the leaves stop their daily work, halting the constant transformation of sunlight into sugar, halting the invisible breathing of chloroplasts. Photosynthesis rests, a tiny miracle paused until morning returns. You imagine the invisible molecules, once bustling with activity, now still, like dancers frozen mid-step, waiting for the soft cue of dawn. There is a quiet intelligence in this rest, a measured pause that holds the promise of new life yet to come. Above, the sky deepens, moving from pale gold to a soft indigo. The first stars blink shyly, distant suns peeking through the veil of the atmosphere. You think about their light, having traveled for centuries, now brushing your eyes with the same patience that the forest shows. Each star feels like a heartbeat in the cosmos, steady, unhurried, marking time that stretches far beyond your own. You breathe slowly, matching your rhythm to theirs, feeling the gentle tug of universality, a subtle connection threading through your chest and along your spine. The forest floor is a mosaic of textures and shadows. Fallen leaves, softened by time and rain, create a patchwork carpet, while moss carpets stones with plush, green warmth. Tiny creatures begin their nocturnal routines, each step delicate, each movement purposeful. A cricket chirps in the distance, its song punctuating the stillness, a small heartbeat echoing the larger rhythms all around you. You pause to watch a slow-moving snail, its glistening trail marking a patient journey through the dark. Even in quiet, the world is alive, just differently, moving in a more subtle, secret language. The air cools further, brushing against your skin, carrying with it the scent of night-blooming flowers and damp earth. You feel a gentle awareness of the unseen forces that shape the forest, the invisible currents of wind stirring leaves, the quiet flow of sap within trunks, the unspoken agreements of predator and prey, of growth and decay. Everything exists in a delicate balance, a cycle that repeats with calm certainty. You feel a quiet awe for this pattern, recognizing that rest is not emptiness but a vital phase of life, a time when energy is conserved and transformation occurs in ways too small for eyes to perceive. As the last light of day fades completely, shadows deepen and merge. Shapes blur softly, branches, leaves, stones, until the forest becomes a soothing wash of texture and scent, sound and shadow. You walk more slowly now, attuned to subtle shifts in the environment. The rustle of small mammals and underbrush, the soft whisper of leaves in the wind, the distant call of an owl preparing for its night's hunt. Each sound is a gentle reminder that life does not stop. It merely changes its pace, trading the bright, bustling energy of day for the quiet, deliberate movement of night. You lie back on a moss-covered bank, gazing upward as stars multiply, revealing clusters and constellations that have guided countless generations. You wonder at the immense span of time that stretches above you, how each star and planet moves according to laws written long before you arrived. Gravity, light, motion, energy, all converging in a dance too vast to grasp fully, yet intimately felt in your chest and your mind. You breathe with this cosmos, small and enormous at once, feeling the world fold into itself, just as you fold into your own calm awareness. The forest exhales once more, deeper now, as if acknowledging the presence of night. You feel the heartbeat of trees, slow and steady, rooted yet stretching silently upward. Roots sip water from the soil, trunks conduct life, and leaves whisper in the wind, all moving through cycles older than memory. You recognize your own rhythm mirrored here. Inhale, exhale, pause. The day's busyness recedes like a tide, leaving the quiet sea of your mind to reflect and rest. Even in darkness, you are aware of life's continuity, a network of exchange and renewal that never truly ceases. You notice the interplay of light and shadow along the forest floor, a subtle glow from bioluminescent fungi, the soft glimmer of dew catching what little moonlight filters through. Science explains these phenomena, the chemical reactions that allow life to produce light without heat, molecules tuned precisely to respond to their environment. But here, in this calm, you feel it as magic, as quiet wonder. The rational and the emotional coexist seamlessly. You do not need to separate them. You feel connected to the natural world, a gentle observer of both its mechanics and its poetry. Time seems to stretch, yet paradoxically, it feels shorter. Moments expand like water droplets on a leaf, lingering and reflecting, then sliding softly into memory. You sense the forest's heartbeat aligning with your own, a gentle synchronization that requires no effort. Each exhale releases tension. Each inhale brings awareness to the present. Night is not an ending but a continuation, a space for reflection, for unseen growth, for energy to collect and prepare for tomorrow. You rest here, between sleep and wakefulness, between knowledge and feeling, between the day just past and the day yet to come. Your gaze drifts from the forest canopy to the distant horizon, where the sky still carries a hint of indigo fading into black. You reflect on the cycles you've witnessed, day into night, activity into rest, energy into calm. The forest teaches patience, teaching you to slow, to feel, to notice the subtleties that are otherwise overlooked. You recognize that life is full of these gentle pauses, spaces of quiet growth and reflection that sustain all living things. And just as the leaves have closed, and the world exhales, you too feel the gentle pull towards stillness, the soft insistence of rest calling you onward. In this moment, wrapped in the forest's quiet, you sense the promise of morning lingering in the darkness. Tomorrow, the sun will rise, and energy will flow again through leaves, roots, and soil. But for now, there is this pause, sacred, unhurried, vital. You close your eyes briefly, letting the last threads of consciousness merge with the rhythmic breathing of the night. And somewhere between awareness and sleep, between the world and yourself, you feel the forest's quiet question lingering. How will you carry this calm into the light of the new day?